So when it comes to the hard disk, we require hard drives in order to access this hard disk. So burning in the sense the process of recording the data onto the optical disk. So the accessing of the data from the CD-ROM is quite bit faster than the floppy disk. So DVD in the sense digital versatile disk. Hello everybody, welcome to the last session on input, output and memory devices. That is your second chapter of your first PUC's computer science, right? Myself Rohini TS, lecturer in computer science, Vidhyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So in my last session, we had a discussion regarding the computer memory. So in that, we have two types, primary and secondary memory. So in my last session, we had a discussion regarding secondary memory. So we all know that secondary memory are mainly used to store the bulk amount of data, and it is non-volatile in nature. When it compares to the primary memory, it is more cheaper or inexpensive than the primary memory, and it has the ability to store bulk amount of data, and it is also known as auxiliary memory. So why it is known as auxiliary memory? Because it will going to store the data which is not currently required by the computer for the processing. So that is the main advantage of calling that as a auxiliary memory, and it is also known as backup memory, right? Even though power supply is not on, it will going to store the data and instruction. So when it comes to the secondary memory, so the data can be stored in a permanent manner. It will be with different forms, like we can also use magnetic disk, optical disk or any other portable media. So in my last session, we had a discussion regarding the magnetic disk. So magnetic disks are nothing but what? So that is a thin circular plate. It will be coated with magnetic oxide. So there it will going to store the data and information, right? So then how it will be classified, or what are the other devices that comes under this magnetic disk? That is hard disk and floppy disk. Hard disk and floppy disk. So hard disk more faster than this floppy disk, and this floppy disk is portable, and that is of 3.5 diameter size, and it has the ability to store the less amount of data, that is 1.44 MB. So when it comes to the hard disk, we require hard drives in order to access this hard disk. So along with this hard disk and floppy disk, we also had a discussion regarding how to access the data and information which is resides on the storage space. So there is of two methods we can access, that is sequential access and then direct access method. So direct access method. So which is more convenient, either sequential or a direct? So that is direct access method is more convenient. Why? Because no need to worry about the location. So whichever the location that we want to visit or that we want to fetch the data and information that particular location, then that can be happen randomly with the help of this direct access method. So when it comes to the sequential access method, so data and information which is to be read and write has to be takes place sequentially. That means one after another. So these are the two methods how we are going to access the data. That means how we are going to read and write the content to the memory or from the memory. So these are the topics that I have covered in my previous session. Then what we are going to discuss in today's session? So in my today's session, we are going to have a look on this secondary memory. So in previous session only we had a discussion regarding magnetic disk, right? So in this session we'll see about optical disk along with the portable storage disk, and then we'll see about cache memory. At last we're going to have a look regarding the difference between the primary and secondary memory. So let me get into the today's session, that is optical disk. So optical disk is nothing but it is a random access. So random access in the sense whether it is a sequential or a direct access, that is direct access. So wherever the location, in which location we want to read or write operation can be performed, that can be helped with the help of this optical disc. So optical disc is a random access removable disc on which the data is written and read with the help of or a use of laser beam. Very important. So what we are going to use in the magnetic disc, there we are going to use the metal oxide in order to read and write the content. But when it comes to the optical disc, here we are going to give the powerful beams or a radiation called use of this laser beam. So with the help of this laser beam, that will be coated on this rotating disc. So when it comes to the secondary storage devices, in this it has a rotational or movement or a moving element is there when it comes to the secondary storage devices. So optical disc consists of rotating disc. How it will be coated? So it is coated with a highly reflective material. So that material is nothing but laser beam. So it is coated with that high effective or a high reflective material. So the data recording on the disc is done by focusing the laser beam on the surface of the spinning disc. So if I consider this optical disc, it will going to rotate. At that time they are going to give the laser beam. So that laser beam will going to fed on that surface. Whatever the data is there in that surface will be written or a read with the help of this laser beam. Getting? So the data recording on the disk is done. So the data recording, that means we can either do read or write. So that operation can be takes place with the help of focusing a laser beam or a high reflective beam on the surface of the spinning disc. When the laser beam falls on that surface, then it will going to stores the data. So that surface will going to rotate all the time. That means it will going to revolve. At that time, it will going to have a laser beam. It will be focused by laser beam. When that laser beam focuses on that surface, then it will going to store the data as a microscopic light. How the data will be stored or how the data will be captured, that will be captured or stored as a microscopic disc. So how the data will be stored? So the data will be stored as a microscopic light, and the dark spots on the disc surface will going to happen. For example, if I consider this as a optical disc and it has several circular disc, so in this we are going to give the laser beam. So it will going to rotate. On that time laser beam will going to falls on this. So when the laser beam is falling on this surface, then it will going to store the data in the form of microscopic light. So the dark spot will going to happen with this surface. So when the laser beam falls on this surface, it will going to convert the stored data in the form of microscopic light. So the dark spots will going to occur on this surface. So I can call that dark spots as a pits. I can call that as a pits. So let me take this as more dark. So it has a dark surface or a dark spots. So we are going to call this dark spots as a pits. So here you can see that there is a light and non-pitted surface. So that will be considered as a land. So that will be considered as lands. Okay, so that spotted, that is dark spotted surface on the disc is considered as pits, and non-pitted or a light darken are called as lands. So this is, you have to understand which is more pitted, that is which is darkened in nature. So at the time you have to understand that that is filled with the data. So which is not pitted or which is lighter in color, then you have to understand that it has a space in order to store the data and information. So this is about optical media. Then what we are going to call for the process of reading the data and writing the content to the optical disc, that is nothing but burning. So you may heard the word called CD burning. What they are going to do? So they are going to store the data to the CD, that means compact disk. So that is nothing but burning. So burning in the sense the process of recording the data onto the optical disk. So it could be either CD or DVD, anything. So what we are doing? So we are recording the data into that optical disk. So that process is known as burning. So when it is burning in the sense, we are giving some data and information to that optical disk. That is nothing but burning. Okay. So the information can be easily read by any point on the disk. So as I discussed, it is a random access. So that is direct access methodology will going to work with this optical disk. If it is direct, then no need to worry about the sequential manner. So that we can fetch the information or a data easily. So it can be easily read by any point of the disk, that is optical disk. So now we'll see which are the different types of optical laser discs we have, that is CD-ROM, DVD-ROM and BD-ROM. Okay, so compact disk, read only memory, and DVD, digital versatile disk, and BD stands for Blu-ray disc. So we'll see about this CD-ROM now. So when it comes to the CD, so CD is nothing but what? It is a compact disc read-only memory. So if it is read-only memory, what are the possibilities that you have to recall? How the read-only memory will going to work? Whether it is volatile or non-volatile in nature, it is non-volatile in nature. That means it will going to store the data and information even though power supply is not on. So that is regarding non-volatile nature of this ROM. So then what does this CD-ROM stands for? So it stands for compact disk read only memory. So what is the storage capacity of this CD? So it is read only optical storage medium capable of holding up to 682 MB of data. So what is the capacity of CD? That is 682 MB of data. So it is regarding its storage capacity. Then what is the access time it required in order to read and write data to the CD? So the accessing of the data from the CD-ROM is quite bit faster than the floppy disk. So it is faster than the floppy disk. The accessing time required for the CD-ROM is lesser than this floppy disk, but it is lower than the hard disk. Then which has more priority here? Hard disk. So hard disk accessing time is very less. So if the accessing time is less, then it will going to read and write operation can be takes place in a much faster manner. So after this hard disk, I can take this CD-ROM, then under the CD-ROM, it will going to fall floppy disk. Okay, so hard disk is more faster than CD-ROM, then we have a floppy disk. So as I discussed, if I want to access the contents of this hard disk, then we require an interface hard drive, right? So in order to access the content or data of the floppy disk, we require floppy disk drive. So in the same way, in order to access or in order to read the CD-ROM, then we require a device called CD-ROM drive, that is CD drive. Okay, so you might have seen the CD drive in your PCs or a laptops. So there we have a CD drive. So it is a hardware that will going to act as a interface between the CD-ROM and a memory. So if I want to read the content of this CD-ROM, then that CD-ROM drive will going to provide a pathway. Okay, so that is in order to read a CD-ROM, a device called a CD-ROM drive is required. So that is the thing you have to understand. Okay, so if you look into the image of CD, here you can see that here also we have a dark spot and a light spot, right? So if it is dark in the sense, it has a data within it. So that dark spots is known as pits, right? And which is not so darkened and it is light or non-pitted, then we can call that surface of a disc as a lens. So you can observe that in your CDs, okay? Compact disc. So then what are the types of CD-ROM we have? So there we have two types, that is CD-R and CD-RW. So when it comes to the CD-R, so R stands for recordable CD. That is, compact is recordable. So at the time of its manufacturing, we can load or we can write some data and information to this CD-ROM, but that cannot be erased. So that is CD recordable or CD-R. But we can perform the read operation as many times we require. That means we can copy the content of this CD-ROM to the any other devices, but we cannot write more than one time. Okay, so that is CD-R. When it comes to the CD-RW, RW is nothing but rewritable. So rewritable in the sense what? If I want to change the content of that CD, I can erase the previously loaded data and information, and new data can be loaded or new data can be stored to the CD, which is of the type CD-RW. That is, it is also called as rewritable CD. We can erase the previously loaded data and we can have the new data. It is regarding the variations of CD-ROM, that is CD-R and CD-RW. So now let me move on to the next optical disc, that is DVD. So what is the abbreviation of DVD? Important for 1 mark. What is the abbreviation? That is digital versatile disc. So DVD in the sense digital versatile disc. So it is an optical disc technology with 4.7 GB storage capacity. So what was the capacity of CD? So that is 682 MB. So when it comes to the DVD, it is an optical disc. It has a capacity to store 4.7 GB of data, right? So DVD can be a single or a double-sided. So you can see into the image. So it can have a ability to store or have the content or a data. Either it can be single-sided or a double-sided. So if it is single-sided, then the data will be stored in only one surface. If it is double layer or a double-sided, it will going to store the data even in the backside of that DVD. So that is, it can be either single or a double-sided, and it can have 2 layers on each side. So if I consider single-sided, then it can have 2 layers. So if I consider double-sided, so in each side it can have 2 layers. So if it is double-sided, then there will be 4 layers. If it is single layer, then there will be 2 layers. So that layers indicates that it will going to store the data. That is data and information which can be stored either single-sided or a double-sided. If it is single-sided, then there will be 2 layers. If it is double layers, then it can have 2 layers in each of the side, right? So the double-sided 2-layer DVD will going to hold up to 17 GB of the video, audio or any information. Okay, so the storage information can be anything. It can be only text or image or video or audio. So as the technology increased or as the technology upgraded, so instead of storing only the data or text, we can also use this DVD in order to store the video, audio along with any other information. Information could be anything, right? So this is what about DVD. And then DVD technology will going to use red laser. So that red laser will going to fall on that surface. So when it reaches to that surface, at that time reading and writing operation can be takes place. That is what they used. That is red laser have been used. Then what are the 2 types of DVD we have? So in the same way as the CD, it also has 2 methods or 2 types, that is DVD-R and DVD-RW. When it comes to the DVD-R, so DVD-R in the sense digital versatile disc recordable. So that means we can write the content only once, but we can read the content as many as times we require. That is DVD-R. When it comes to the DVD-RW, that is rewritable. We can erase the previously loaded data and we can have the new data and information, or it could be anything, like it can be either image, any of the videos or audios. So that is regarding DVD-RW. So that is rewritable. Rewritable in the sense what? It can we erase the previous content and we can load a new data and information to the already existing space. No need to have the new space or a new surface. Whatever the physical spaces existed already, in that place only we can have the new data. It is regarding DVD. Then which is the next optical media or optical disc? That is Blu-ray disc. So Blu-ray disc is nothing but that is pronounced as a BD disc. So why we require this Blu-ray disc? So it is mainly has a high capacity storage technology. So mainly we are all using all these devices mainly for the storage purpose, right? That is to use to in order to store the bulk amount of data. So high capacity of storage technology. So what is the storage capacity of this BD disc? That is, it will going to store 25 GB to 50 GB capacity. So if it is 25 GB to 50 GB, then which kind of data can be stored in this? By making use of this BD disc, that is nothing but we can store the HD movies and any other information which has more resolution or a more space or a more storage space required. For that purpose, we are going to use this Blu-ray disc. Right? So the name Blu-ray is derived from the blue-violet color laser. So in DVD, we are going to give the red laser. When it comes to the Blu-ray disc, here they are going to give or they are going to spot blue-violet color laser. And mainly it is used to read the data which is stored on the disc. So when that laser beam fall on that surface, at the time it will going to fetch the data and information which is located on the disc. So that can be either read operation or a write operation. So based on the requirement of the user, the operation will going to be selected. So it's all about optical disc. So now let me move on to the next one, that is portable storage device. So portable in the sense what? We can carry anywhere we require. Okay, so that will be lightweight and it is not so expensive than the previous type of storage medias. It has a more ability to store the large amount of data. So when it is portable in the sense, it can be carried out. Then which are the examples which comes under this portable? So that is USB or a flash drives. That is also known as what? Pen drives. USB flash drives or a pen drives. So then what is the storage capacity of this pen drive? It even starts from 2 GB to 64 GB. Now it has been evolved from any other GB to TB. Okay. As the technology increases or evolved, even the storage capacity of the storage medium is also getting evolved. Okay. So from the bits to any of the terabyte, exabyte, even etabyte, the storage capacity has been evolved. So the main usage of this portable media or portable storage devices, it can be carryable and it is not so expensive when it compares to any other storage media. So when it comes to the portable storage devices, so it is compatible and it is lightweight and it is not so costlier and we can carry anywhere we require. So that is the main advantage of this portable storage device. So on here you can see the image of portable storage devices, card reader, pen drives or USB flash. So these are all the examples which fall under portable storage disk or a portable storage media. So which falls under portable storage device. So now let me move on to the last one, that is cache memory. Okay, CACHE, that will be pronounced as a cache memory. So why this cache memory is required? So we all know that if I want to process any of the data and information, then it has to be in the primary memory, right? So it has to be in the primary memory. If for example, if my data and information in the secondary memory, that could be in any CD, DVD or even in pen drive, then that data and information has to be copied to the primary memory. Then only the CPU will going to fetch the data and it will going to process. Okay, so the cache memory is a high speed memory. It is a buffer between the CPU and a RAM. So that is, the cache memory is a small amount of high speed memory. It is a high speed memory even than the primary memory. So it is more faster than the primary memory. So it will going to hold the data and information which is currently being used by the CPU for the processing. It is much faster than the primary memory, and it will present in between the primary memory and the CPU. Okay, so in CPU we have a primary and secondary memory. Where this cache memory will going to present? It is present in between the primary memory and the CPU. So then how it will going to act? So let me consider this as a CPU. Okay, so this is mainly used to perform a calculation part, and we have a primary memory. So this cache memory will going to resides in between these two things. So we have a primary memory, whatever the data and instruction which is required for the processing, that will be in the primary memory, and here we have a CPU in order to process the data. So this cache memory will going to act as a buffer in between the CPU and primary memory. Okay, so what it will going to hold? It will going to hold the intermediate data, and it will going to hold the data and information with a less amount of time. So whatever the data and information which is required immediately for the processing, with the help of this cache memory, it will going to hold. Okay, so it will going to hold the intermediate data, and it is more compatible, and but it will going to store only less amount of data, and it is so expensive than this primary memory, and it is costlier. Okay, so the speed of the CPU is extremely high when it compares to the access time of the main memory. So when I compare this cache memory with the primary memory, the cache memory speed is more than this primary memory. Okay, so if you look into the cache memory, it has two levels. So that is level 1 and level 2. So where this level 1 cache memory will reside? So it resides inside the CPU. So level 1 cache memory resides inside the CPU. Then what about level 2? So that level 2 cache memory will going to resides on the motherboard. So that will be resides on the motherboard. So L1 is inside the CPU, and when it comes to the L2, that is in the motherboard. So, and we have one more level, that is L3. So this L3 will going to have a control over the working of this L1 and L2. So mainly it is used to store the intermediate data or a data which is instantly required for the processing, right? So cache memories are accessed much faster than the conventional RAM. That is, it is more faster than the primary memory. So if it is more faster than the primary memory, when it comes to the cost, it is more costlier than the primary memory, and it will going to store only less amount of data. And that is, limited amount of data can be held by making use of this cache memory. It will going to give the data to the CPU whenever it is required for the processing of the data and information. So this cache memory will going to store the intermediate data between the CPU and RAM. So the RAM is nothing but what? Primary memory. So with the help of this cache memory, it will going to make the RAM or a primary memory to be feel as it is faster, and it has the less access time, because this will going to make the fastest usage of the intermediate data. So it will going to hold the data temporarily which is required for the instant processing. And when it comes to the cost, it is so expensive, and if you want to have a bigger size of cache memory, then you have to pay more, so that it is so cost effective, and the size is normally small. Okay, because it will going to hold less amount of data. If you want to store, or if it want to hold large amount of data, then it will be costlier, and it is faster than the main memory, and it consumes less access time. So we know that what is access time. So it needs to be fetch the location, then it has to analyze what are the content is there in particular location. For that purpose, it requires only less access time. So within that time only, it will get to know that what is that location and what is the data and information which is resides in that particular location. When it compares with a main memory or a RAM, it is much faster and it is more costlier, and the access time is low of this cache memory when it compares with a primary memory. It stores the programs that can be executed within a short period of time. So it will going to hold the instant data, or it will going to hold the intermediate data. So that is, it will going to store the data which is temporarily used. So it is regarding cache memory. So now we are at the end of this chapter. So that means now we need to understand the difference between the primary memory and secondary memory. So till now we had a discussion regarding what is primary memory and what are all the types we have, how the data will be stored and how the data will be accessed, how the accessing speed, whether it is more or less. You have to understand one thing, if the access time is less, then the speed of that processing is more. If the access time is more, then it will be slower. Okay, that you have to understand. What are all the material they have used for the each type of memory, whether it could be either primary or secondary memory. And what is the another name we have, what is the alias name we have, we'll see now. When it comes to the primary memory, so primary memory is also known as semiconductor memory. Then what about the secondary memory? It is magnetic or optical memory. How the materials they have used in order to store the data and information in the secondary memory, it could be either magnetic or a optical. So on that purpose, we can call the secondary memory as a magnetic or a optical memory. So then how the data will be stored with the help of this primary memory? That is temporary. So volatile in nature. Volatile in the sense what? Whatever the content is there in the primary memory, everything will get erased when the power supply goes off. So that is nothing but volatile memory. So what about this secondary memory? That is non-volatile in nature. It will going to hold the data and information permanently. Even though power supply is not on, it will going to hold the data and information until the user will going to delete. That is the main difference between the primary and secondary memory. But now you have to get one question like, you told that ROM is a non-volatile in nature. But what about you are saying that it is volatile? Because ROM comes under primary itself. So if you look into the types of primary memory, there we have RAM and ROM, right? So RAM is volatile in nature and ROM is non-volatile in nature. But when it comes to the secondary memory, all the devices are non-volatile in nature. So that is the difference you have to understand, right? So when it comes to the cost effectiveness, which is more costlier, whether primary memory or a secondary memory? That is primary memory. So primary memory is more expensive than the secondary memory. And the secondary memory is less expensive than this primary memory. Which is faster? So faster in the sense how the data will be fetched. On what basis we are going to say it as a faster or a slower? It is based on the access time. So for example, if I want to have or if I want to process any of the data and information, then it has to be in the primary memory, right? So if I have the data in the primary memory itself, then the access time will going to decrease. So if the access time is less, then it will be faster, so that it is faster in nature. When it comes to the secondary memory, so whatever the data and content is there in the secondary memory, that needs to be copied or moved to the primary memory. Then it will going to fetch the data and information. So that here accessing time will going to increase. So if the accessing time is more, then we can call that type of memory as a slower memory. So that is the difference between the primary and secondary. So and what is the another name for this primary memory? It is also known as main memory. Why it is also known as main memory? Because whatever the data and information which is currently being required for the processing, that will be stored in this primary memory. So that it is known as main memory, right? So when it comes to the secondary memory, it is also called as auxiliary memory. Why? Because it will going to retain the data and information which is not currently being used by the CPU for the processing purpose. Okay, that's why we are going to call the secondary memory as a auxiliary memory. Then what are the examples which comes under primary memory? So that is RAM and ROM. and also we have several types of RAM and ROM. Okay, so RAM and ROM comes under the primary memory. Then what are the example which comes under secondary memory? That is hard disk drive and pen drive or a CD, DVD. So these are the examples which falls under secondary memory. I hope you all understood with difference between the primary memory and secondary memory, and it is also important question. What are the difference between the primary and secondary memory? So we are at the end of this chapter. We have completed second chapter of your first PUC's computer science, that is input, output and memory devices. I am going to meet you in the next session with new chapter. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.